From the book of Matthew, Matthew chapter 19, verse 26, the King James Version Bible. But Jesus beheld them, and said unto them, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And from the book of Luke, with God nothing is impossible. Good morning, everyone. Getting a late start. It's August the 7th, 2015. The time is 9:47 a.m. and I have been so busy and I'm in a hurry. But I want to share with all of you what I shared at a very special Tiny Chat service last night. An amazing story of faith, a wife's faith, and the story of a Vietnam veteran, the homeless vets, and an atheist, agnostic, real estate broker that got to see firsthand the power of a holy God. This is an amazing story. As most of you know, I'm going to do this quickly. If you weren't at Tiny Chat last night, that we have a terrible situation with the trailer we're in. We have to leave here due to health risk and health issues. My wife has been sick. We have all been sick in the home. My son Christopher is doing his best to recover from a serious accident, a head injury and a broken neck and a broken back. But due to the black mold in the trailer, he's been staying at his aunt's house, Christy's sister, because we can't take the risk of him being here until we can get out of here, of getting any type of infection or possibly meningitis. So I said in a video late last year, early this year, that the Holy Spirit has just overpowered me, that someone was going to come, that God was going to send someone to take his ministry, this is his ministry to the homeless, to new levels, to glorify the kingdom and to glorify him. That a lot of people, so many people have given to this ministry, but we've never taken in any substantial amounts to keep this ministry going and to move it forward. That people have given, but they're given what they can. But one event unfolds after the other. All the sickness, the accident, now the black mold in the house, my wife being sick and having tests run, and then we uncover all this black mold. And I know it's Samantha Davis and her husband Leo Gonzalez that God had brought into this situation and placed in this situation. She has given above and beyond any expectation, amounts to push this ministry to new heights. God's ministry, $2,000 here, $300 here, $3,000 here, $4,000 here. And when she heard the situation about the home, I had been saying that what had took place is my wife, due to the serious illness she had emergency surgery. She almost bled to death some time back. You remember the video, and she had a 9-pound fibroid tumor. She had to have robotic surgery and two blood transfusions. And we were working so hard to establish our credit, and I didn't want anything to do with Obamacare, and neither did she. So we cut corners on health insurance, and we had to file bankruptcy. So any hope of a home was gone at that point. We wouldn't be eligible for a mortgage for 2 years, and there are really no land contracts out there. But we had worked, even through our homelessness, we had worked. My wife had started, she's an artist, along with being a kitchen and bath designer, NCIDQ certified, the highest certification you can get. She went and got that. Grading papers, grading final exams in design at Baker College. While we were homeless, we worked our backsides off. I would help her long hours with the airbrush art that she would started her own business. Even while we were homeless, I was writing articles for magazines, and they were being published on various topics, just how to catch largemouth bass. A lot of people say, Pastor Dave, it doesn't work. I still work. Then I was a subcontractor, and I was, along with writing articles, I was going into HUD homes, and we were winterizing them and changing the door locks and getting them ready, along with doing, as I'm doing now, a subcontractor for a landscaping company. We go out there and we do a lot of landscaping. So my credit score from being homeless and bankrupt, it shot up there through the roof. The credit is there. My wife's credit score is higher than mine. If we didn't have the bankruptcy, we could have bought any home there was, and we're in this dire situation. And my wife gets on the computer, and she comes out of the room crying. She said, I found our new house. I said, honey, we can't get a mortgage right now. It's a land contract, and it's unbelievable. And she said, I got goosebumps from my dad. And I said, honey, your dad? I'm thinking her father, Theodore, they don't get along very well. She says, my dad, honey, my dad, my Father in heaven, he told me that this is our house. And I looked, it was $13,000. I said, it's $13,000, honey, down. We don't have that. We can totally pay for this house with the payments, but we don't have the down payment. But I set up an appointment to look at it. And I talked every night with Samantha Davis, and I told her my wife really thinks that this is her house. And when I did the video on the black mold, and she knew that we needed this $13,000 to get this house, she said, I'm sending you the money so you can get out of that terrible situation that you're in. And my wife was really happy. She said, this is our house. And we met with the realtor broker, and the people were up in northern Michigan, so the house, they weren't there. And we looked around, and we could see that you can tell if it's a Christian home, and there were Bibles in the house. It was a Christian home. And then the realty agent that showed us the house said, these people are like you. You're a pastor. These people are like you. They do that praying thing. So that tells me that he's either an atheist or an agnostic. But what I found out about the house, and they told me that he is a Vietnam veteran of the Vietnam War, and he's retired, but he works in the lower level. It's a bi-level, the lower level of the house. You come in, you walk up 4 steps, and you're in the kitchen, the dining room area, and the bedrooms, and you take a few steps down, and you're in the lower level of the house. And I kept saying, there's something about this house, something unique, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And wait till you hear this. So we brought him all the paperwork, and I said, tomorrow I will have the bank statement showing that we do have the funds in a bank account to close on this house. And he said, okay, I'm going to hold it for you. So my wife is so happy, and we let Samantha know what was going on. We can't rush the mail, even an overnight mail. But rather than that, when he left us, he went and showed it to someone else who offered $24,000 down. And we got the call, and he said, there's no chance now. I'm sorry of you getting this house. They are going to close on this house Tuesday, which would be last Tuesday. There is like a 95% chance that this is going to close. You really, even though you pray, prayers this time is not going to do any good. When I showed you this house, something happened. Someone offered $20,000, and it didn't close, and it came back on the market. And you've seen the house, but I have to break the news to you. These people are serious, and they're going to close. So my wife said to me at home, what's the problem, Pastor? You're supposed to be the one to encourage others and to tell them about faith and that nothing is impossible for God. I said, honey, we're not going to get this house. I helped her, and I found one, an old farmhouse. We went and took a look at it, and it was worse shape than the trailer. And I'm thinking to myself, we've got to leave here. I don't know what to do about YouTube. We're probably going to be homeless again, or just have to rent something. And then I found a ranch house. I posted a picture of it on Facebook. I went to see it, and my wife was really not interested. I said, honey, we got to do something. All of a sudden, there's no land contracts, and now I find a farmhouse which needed to be demolished. That wasn't going to work. And then I found this ranch house, And I got excited for a minute because it had a pole barn. You could put like 5 semi trucks in. But it needed a little fixing up. I'll be honest, I get ashamed. It was dirty inside. But when I looked into the pole barn, it had rained the night before and half of the floor was flooded. And then the elderly neighbor, very nice, came over at the fence, and I was looking at the house the next day, and he said, "You don't want this house." He's still working in the basement. The basement has terrible issues of flooding, and the electrical shorts out. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I told Christy that, and she said, "That's our house." I said, "Honey, it's Tuesday. Now it's 9:30 at night." She said, "My dad just told me it's our. I got the goosebumps from my dad again," and she's talking about Yahweh. And I said, "Honey, I'm tired. That house closed today. We didn't get a call. It's 9:30 at night. I'm going to bed, honey." And she said, "That's my house. God told me that was my house." I said, "Honey, it's 9:30, going on 10 o'clock at night. That house closed early in the day. I went to sleep. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, as I always do. And I talked to Samantha in the middle of the night. She's like me. We get up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I go out and I sit on the porch. I look up at the stars, and I got a missed call on my phone that after I had went to bed, 11:30 at night, the realtor, Steve, says, "The house didn't close." The house did not close. Now, my wife when we knew we couldn't get the house, or I knew, she didn't know. She knew she was going to get this house. She left a note. She went from work and left a note on the door to the homeowner. If anything happens that these people do not get this house, that how much she loves it. My husband is a pastor, and I know you're a veteran, and he is with the, he's part of the flag lines for the veterans, at veterans funerals. He's part of the Patriot Guard, and we really love this house, and we're Christian. I get this call in the middle of the night. Before I can call them, the homeowner calls Christy. I said, "God is orchestrating this. I want you people to have this house." We went there and met for our purchase agreement. This is unbelievable. She said, "I told you. Where's your faith, Pastor? Husband, where is your faith? I told you God told me this was my house." We find out that we're passing our credit. They're all amazed, and oh, this is so wonderful. But there was a pool at the house, and they said, "We're taking the pool. We're going to have that removed real quickly." I said, "Yeah, I'm not into material things. I don't need a pool, you know." And they're going through the papers, and he sees my business card, Trumpet of God Ministries and Outreach to the Homeless. He says, "Oh, I knew that." The wife said right away, "God," she said to Steve, the realtor, "I know you're a non-believer, but this is God. This is God doing this." And he said, "I'm a Vietnam veteran, retired United States Army." And he said, "I help the homeless veterans who fought for this country. And we're moving, because I'm moving our ministry to a new height and a new level with more and more help for the homeless veterans. And we're opening up I've got a partner now, we're opening up a number of food pantries." And he said, "You seen the lower level of the house?" I said, "Yes, I just seen it was put together. Very, very, I was curious." He said, "That's where I've been feeding the homeless. That's where I've been storing and stockpiling the food there in a very large shed in the backyard." And I almost fell out of my chair. He said, "I want you, God called you. God orchestrated this so you could continue your homeless ministry to new levels while we go north. And we have a partner now, and we continue our food pantries and feeding of the homeless vets." I said, "Oh, this is so amazing." And we were talking about my son, and hopefully he can come and we can take care of him now that he had a serious accident. And the wife spoke up and said, "An accident?" I said, "Yes, he broke his back, his neck, and we're trying to help him remember, but he's going through a lot of physical therapy. And she said, you know, the water therapy is so important for recovery. She said, wait a minute. She took her husband in the other room. They've gone 3 seconds. They come back and said, will you take this pool? We don't want the expense of removing it. Will you keep this above ground pool for your son for therapy? We signed the agreement. And Steve said, you know, I always thought that the realtor, that he is an atheist or agnostic, I always thought of the person you call God as the invisible man in the sky. He said, now, I have to rethink all over again because what happened was impossible. And I read in the scripture, but nothing is impossible for God. So now he wants to know more about this God that had worked this miracle in this impossible situation. Yesterday at noon, we closed on our new house. To God be all the glory. God bless you.